Welcome back to the 2 Months Podcast presented by BioSteel and powered by Go Goat Sports. I'm your host, Joshua Marshall, and I got my co host with me tonight. We got Phil Stockley. Phil, how's it going?
Going pretty good. Can't complain. Got some much needed rain over here today, so
Yeah.
always go back to the weather, hey?
Oh, it's good. In these,
Yeah,
in this Alberta weather we have right now, these forest fires, we're getting a lot of help from other provinces. It's needed, right?
absolutely. So yeah, how are you doing?
Oh, good. I'm doing good. Just excited for our guest here. This is another one that always had on the list, and just from what he's accomplished and everything I heard about him, and looking forward to kind of meeting. And that is Trevor Lewis. We like to thank Mike Fuda for setting this up, and it's awesome we get to talk to a great player, great person like him. And this is a two-time Stanley Cup champ, and it's the first time we've had a two-time Stanley Cup champ player on. We've had obviously Foods has won it twice too, and the executive side, but this is the first time we've had a player on that's won it twice. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, super cool. And as a Flames fan, yeah, I'm pretty excited to interview him. And I think if you like go back in the middle of the season there, I think I gave Trevor Lewis some good props because yeah, I think he plugged in on that Calgary Flames lineup pretty good. He gives you everything you want. He's just a
He's
great
what?
guy to have in the bottom end of your lineup. Does what you need. He doesn't cause any glaring mistakes out there. So yeah, super excited to talk to this guy.
Yeah, for sure. So without further ado, let's get to our interview with Trevor Lewis right now. Mutts fans, our next guest was drafted in the first round in 2006 by the LA Kings. He currently has played 892 regular season games and 99 playoff games. He's won two Stanley Cups with the LA Kings. We like to welcome from the Calgary Flames, Trevor Lewis. Trevor, how's it going?
Good, good. Yeah, just hanging out here, but thanks for having me on.
Oh no, thanks for coming on. And without, I got to ask you first. Obviously, getting you on, and how much Mike Fuda means to us. He's been on with us several times, and I know how much he means to you. And he just called me before the interview started and just talked about how humble you are and what a beautiful family you have and everything. I gotta ask you kind of about him and how much he means to you, and and he's how much he's helped you throughout your career.
Yeah, I mean, Futes. I've known Futes since what, 2007, I think. So he was my GM in junior in Owen Sound, and um, I was actually gonna go to college, and then got drafted, and they kind of wanted me to go to major junior out, and I didn't know much about it, being from Utah, and Futes was kind of the first guy I met, and right off the bat, you know, we really respected him and liked him, and we've been great friends ever since. I only played there a year, but after that, he came to LA and you know moved his way up and was assistant GM there, and it seems like every summer when I'm need a deal or something, he's always the first guy that reaches out and puts in a good word for me. So he's been meant a lot to me in my career, and yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a beauty for sure. Before we jump into your career, obviously, wish we were watching you play in the playoffs right now, but I know you're kind of back home and busy doing the father stuff. But has have you gotten to watch any of the games that you've seen so far? Does anything kind of stick out to you that you have seen, if you have seen anything in the current playoffs that we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be able to watch a lot more. It seems like now that I get to turn on the games when we're eating dinner, and I usually start the early games, and then the kids want to watch a movie or something and want me to watch with them. So
Yeah.
uh, I usually miss the end of the first game, and then I get to catch the later games. But um, it's fun to watch. It's I know, and the intensity ramps up so much, and you can just see the rivalries start to build, and every every series it seems like it's so close either way. So it's been fun to watch, and it sucks not being in it, but at least there's some good hockey to watch.
No, for sure. It's been a bit wild with some of these blowouts and whatnot, but obviously, I think when these games kind of mean a lot more as they get towards the end of the later in the series, maybe early on, but later in the series, I feel like things will start tightening up and whatnot. But Phil, I'll toss the puck over to you and go down the minor hockey route here and the junior hockey route with Louis here.
Yeah, absolutely. So born in the USA, played your minor hockey down there. So I know a lot of our listeners, and I know Bosco and I know what minor hockey's like up here in Canada. Can you tell us what it's like down there in the States?
Well, obviously Utah's not much of a hockey hotbed here. So, growing up, um, we played on a travel team, and we'd only have about 12 guys on the team, so we got lots of ice time. We travel around to California and Dallas and Vegas and stuff like that, and um, you know we didn't have a lot of um, success, I'd say, because there wasn't a lot of great hockey here. But I think once the Olympics came here in 2002, there was a lot more rinks and a lot more attention on playing hockey. So every summer I seem to come back. The youth hockey here in Utah has grown so much that it's hard for me to get ice time sometimes in the summer when I want to train. And um, but it's great to see, and you see more kids coming out and playing college, and going pro and going to Europe and stuff like that. So it's grown a lot here from when I played, and it's great to see.
Did that 2002 Olympics like what do you remember about that being in Salt Lake?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually fortunate enough to go to about 3 or 4 games, and I think my dad saved up all the money to buy some good tickets so we can see some good players, and that was kind of the first moment I was like, wow, that's something, that's what I want to do. I want to keep playing hockey and take it as far as I can, and it was such a cool experience to be able to go to at a young age, and especially here in my home state and hometown. I was very fortunate to be able to go to the games.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think like my earliest memory was like was the year before, like the Olympics before, but Salt Lake like definitely stands out to me, especially like being from Canada.
Yeah,
Pretty pretty good for us, but probably pretty heartbreaking for you.
yeah, a little bit, but my dad's actually Canadian. My dad's he's from Lethbridge, so it was kind of
Okay.
he was Canadian, but he was kind of rooting with me too, so he was a little bit torn, but yeah, he was definitely happy in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how it goes. You want your kids to be happy, right? So what kind of a role did your dad have in your hockey career?
My dad was always my coach growing up. We lived across the street from a rink growing up, so every day after work, from when I was 2 years old, he'd take me over ice skating, just to public skates and stuff. And um, he never really pushed me that hard when I was young, just kind of see if I liked it, and I ended up loving it. So he kind of became the coach, and he coached me all the way up until I was 15, and I moved away to Colorado. So he was obviously uh, one of the biggest influence in my career, and he I still look forward to his texts after games of how he thinks I played and stuff like that. So he's definitely one of the biggest influences in my career.
That's awesome. So where did you play junior hockey, Trevor?
So when I left here at 15 because the competition wasn't very good, and at the time, if you wanted to move up in the ranks anywhere, you kind of had to move away. So I went to Colorado Springs and played for the Pikes Peak Miners there, midget hockey, and then from there I got drafted in the USHL and went to the USHL for 2 years.
Okay, so now we'll jump to your draft. Drafted in the first round by the LA Kings. Were you kind of expecting that pick to happen, or were there other teams on your radar?
Um, there was a couple other teams I thought I could go to. My first year in the USHL was kind of an eye opener for me. Um, our team wasn't very good, and I didn't realize how good the competition was. And then the second year coming back, we got the first pick in the USHL draft, and we got Kyle Okposo. And I think all the scouts kind of came to see him, which was very fortunate for me. And I got to play with him, and so so they all came to see him, and ended up seeing me too. So he was a big part of my draft too. So had to give him a little shout out there. But yeah, there was a couple other teams. I wasn't really sure where I was gonna go. And people tell you they're all the rankings and stuff, maybe late first round or second round or something. So we weren't really kind of sure, but as soon as it happened, me and my family were all pretty pumped.
That's awesome. So you go to LA. What was your thoughts of like getting there? And obviously the history that organization has, but also the players that were there, and the people that in the front office, and such a great resume. How much did it mean to you to kind of get drafted by that organization, but also play with some of the great players you have? Because every time Food's on with us, he just says that team was loaded with captains. Like there's 13, 14 different captain kind of guys, and he always brings your name into that fold too.
Yeah, I mean, it was the obviously the year when I was drafted, they were kind of going through the rebuild, and starting a new culture there and everything. But as soon as I heard LA, the first person you think of is Gretzky and Luc Robitaille. So just to go there and put on the jersey, and it's something you dream about. And obviously I couldn't have been drafted in a better situation. It was it was Dean Lombardi came in, and it was trying to build a team and build a new culture there. And um, you know, I think once they got Jared Stoll and Matt Green, it kind of solidified a new culture, and they were kind of the guys that took it over from there. And I couldn't have been put in a better position, just to learn from all the guys that were there.
Is there one or two guys that kind of stand out to you that were mentors to you earlier on in your career, and how much they meant to you on and off the ice?
I think Jared Stoll is a big one. I think I mean, I could go on like Dustin Brown, Justin Williams. I could probably name you 10 guys. Matt Green, huge guy. Just to learn from them. I mean, I went there and trained for a few summers with them, and just in the off season, and got to watch how they train and how hard they work, and um, how much they care about the team aspect of getting guys together away from the rink, and just bonding. And honestly, I couldn't learn from anyone better, just to see how they prepare and work, and put all that work in the summer just for the season.
Yeah. And talk about the winning the cup and how special that was, the first cup, taking it probably back home, and how much that meant to bring that around your family, and all the sacrifices that your family did and you did to get to that moment, and the way you guys won that cup too, and just getting in at the skin of your teeth, but being a dominant team. Can you kind of elaborate a bit more about how special that group is?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think it was around Christmas time. We were kind of, out of the playoffs, and Dean Lombardi made a coaching change, and brought Daryl in. And I think at that time I hadn't been playing. I'd been a healthy scratch like 10 or so games in a row. And Daryl came in, and I don't think he knew much about me at all. And um, I know I had some guys go to bat for me, and tell them that I was a good player and I should be playing. And um, as soon as he came in, he said, "Hey, I'm going to give you a role, and you can take it or leave it." And that was probably the biggest break in my career. I mean, he gave me a role, and I kind of took it and ran with it, and kind of just tried to perfect it ever since. But anyways, yeah, I mean, he came in, he didn't really change a whole lot of the systems and stuff, just kind of Daryl's good at getting the most out of guys, and it was a good fresh change for us, and we were playing playoff hockey from then on, and we barely get in, and playing Vancouver in the first round, and no one gives us a chance at all, and we take that in five. So I think the confidence was high, and I think just from playing playoff hockey for so long, we were just so dialed in, and we kind of breezed through the playoffs in a way. And, after winning the cup, your mind just goes back to all the sacrifices your family's made, all those 5 a.m. practices that your mom and dad are waking you up and taking you to, and making you breakfast. And, just to see them come out on the ice when you have the cup, it's, it's something so special, and it was unbelievable.
About how about the second cup? You guys are down, down against San Jose. I just remember like it was yesterday. Like I'm just sitting here watching it, and Jonathan Quick just kind of skates by the Sharks bench, and whatever he says is whatever he says. We may find out at some point down the road exactly what these quotes were, but just and I said this to Jamie McLennan, who's been on our podcast a lot, and he's always talked very highly of Jonathan Quick, and I think for the longest time he was the best goaltender in the game, the most competitive goaltender in the game. But how much did that mean to you when he was going by the bench and just saying we're like whatever he had said? And did you guys just believe in that opportunity that you guys weren't going to let this series slip away? And obviously it's one game at a time. Is there something that kind of just stood out in that series?
Yeah, I think game three, we felt like we felt like we could win the series. We just had that feeling like, this we can still win this. And I think after game three, we just kind of talked about taking it, one game, one period, one shift at a time, and just go from there. And I think even when we were down 3-0, the belief in the room was so strong that we weren't going to let it slip away. And I mean, obviously with Quickie and net, I mean, there's no one more competitive, and um, no one I'd pick for a game 7 or anything like when the season's on the line. He was so good, and yeah, we just had that belief, and we just kept going and kept fighting, and we battled our way, and came back and won it.
Yeah, it was pretty special. And obviously talk about your relationship with Tyler Toffoli. He's a good friend of our podcast, and I know he's always spoken very highly of you, and he's going to be captain of Team Canada here overseas. But what he meant to you. We'll get into Luch too and the other guys, but your relationship with Toff dating back to LA, and now it's here in Calgary too.
Yeah, Toff. I met Toff when he was young. He was just kind of coming up, and you always hear about him and how he's such a goal scorer, and then I think he came to his first training camp, and I was just kind of watching him. I'm like, wow, this guy just knows how to score, and he just finds those areas, and he has such a good release that he can score in so many different ways. So you kind of saw right away, like he's going to play, he's going to be a good player. And, then I got to know him a little bit from staying in the summers, and he was working out there with us. And, he was a young kid, and, he liked to have fun. And, but you could tell he had a good head on his shoulders. And, yeah, I think he just kind of, once he got called up, he was kind of up and down a little bit, but you could always tell like he's gonna score. He's gonna be a star player in the league, and he's always worked hard and worked at everything. And we have a really good relationship off the ice. I mean, we talk. I mean, probably pretty close to every day in the summers here. So him and Kat are good friends of ours, and we're really close.
Um, and Luch, just a character in his own in every which way. And like I was golfing with Matt Benning today, and they played together in Edmonton, and like my phone was going off with all this hockey stuff going on, and Matt's like, you're just like Luch, like he's like an encyclopedia when it comes to sports, and not just hockey. Like he can, like Matt even said, he's like, that guy can name the last 25 Super Bowls, who's won and then who's lost too. Can you talk about him and just what he meant to you, in LA, and then going to get having him in Calgary too.
Yeah, speaking of that memory, like that guy is unbelievable. He could remember he probably remembers every single goal he scored in the NHL and how he scored and who he scored on. And it's actually unbelievable. Like you can ask any question and he'll know the answer. So I don't know how his memory's so good, but it's unbelievable. But yeah, anyways, he's one of a kind. That guy, he's such a beauty. He's always talking, always chatting. Um, when he's one of the most recognizable humans you'll ever meet. You walk anywhere with him, and you'll hear his Luch. Where you are, he could be in Utah, and someone would be saying Luch. So, and he's such a good guy to. I mean, it would get annoying if you did that every day, all day. So, and he's always going up to people and signing stuff, taking pictures or whatever. And yeah, he's such a good guy, and I feel like he'd do anything for anyone. And yeah, he's one of a kind for sure.
No, he kind of put us on the map, Trevor. Like when we started this podcast, we didn't know what I was doing. I was recording this off my phone and everything.
Yeah.
And just before around the pandemics, he came on and kind of put us on the map, and he's been great ever since. And but I got to ask you about Daryl Sutter. You kind of talked to him earlier on. What does it mean to someone that shows that belief in you, gives you that opportunity, day in and day out? Because what I know of the Sutter family, we've had Brent Sutter on with us several times. My family does some farming with that family too. Nothing but great people on and off the ice. Can you kind of elaborate more of the important relationship that you have with Daryl and how much he means to you and how much giving you that opportunity throughout your career?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I talked a little bit earlier, but yeah, he gave me that role when he came to LA, and um, you know, I kind of took it and ran with it, and um, he gave me such a good opportunity and believed in me and showed belief in me, and um, always kind of give me tips and kind of saying we played the same way and stuff. So
Yeah.
he's such uh, a good coach for me, and I've obviously played my best hockey for him. I think he got the most out of me, and even off the ice, he's anything I ever need. I think I could call him, and he'd do it at the drop of the hat, and I think he'd do that for mostly everyone too. He's such a family person, and if you played for him, I think he'd do anything for you for the rest of your life. So yeah, he's a funny story of a family person. He one game, I think it was the first time my wife ever met him. We just lost and I didn't play very good. And I'm like, tomorrow's going to suck. And, Daryl's going to give it to me. And I walk out of the room after the game and he's, hugging my wife. And I don't think he's ever met her before. And I'm like, oh God. And then, and then Kara, my wife, was like, what are you guys talking? This guy's the nicest guy I've ever met. And I'm like, yeah, he is actually a really good guy, but yeah, I'm sure he gave it to me the next days too. So yeah, he's such a good guy, and he helped my career out so much that I can't thank him enough.
Thanks. I know. Toss it back over to Phil. I know Phil wants to talk about Chris Sutter, and you had him in LA and had him in Calgary. But go ahead, Phil. I know you want to kind of touch on that with Trevor.
Yeah, like so from what I could see like at the Saddle Dome when I've been to games there, Chris just seems like such a life-giving person. So what is your relationship and what's the team's relationship like with Chris?
Yeah, Chris is he's always around the locker room on practice days and stuff, and he's awesome, man. He's so funny, and I think he's kind of part of the team. He's walking around the locker room giving guys tips and telling them what they should be doing. And I think during the games, I think he's part of the team. He wants to get the crowd fired up when he does all his dance moves and everything. And he's awesome. Yeah, I can't say enough about him. In LA, he was around pretty much all practice days, just helping trainers out, talking to guys, just keeping it light. And he's a great kid for sure.
Yeah, it makes coming to the rink a lot of fun in a way too, right? So
Yeah, I think he this year he told, I don't know if this, I think the story came out that he told Mackenzie Weegar that his stick was too long and they cut his stick down. And I think Weegs only had like one goal at the time, and then he kind of slowly started cutting his stick down and he started scoring and stuff. So I think Chris gets a lot of.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Phil, you got some more there?
Yeah, I was actually gonna say so I'm just gonna go back to your Stanley Cup here for just a second. When we had Doug Gilmour on, he actually got he got the game winning goal for the Calgary Flames when they won the cup. I know you got two goals in the decisive game in 2012. I was just gonna ask you, when you got your empty netter, did you know it was over?
um, you know what? At the time, I was just kind of shaking so bad, like, don't miss this. Like, you're gonna break away with a wide open net. Like, just put it in the middle of the net. Don't do nothing stupid. And uh, I didn't really think it was over at the time. And then I kind of looked over at the bench, and you could see everyone um, celebrating and jumping up and down. And that was kind of a feeling like, oh, we might have just won this thing. So that was pretty cool. It was pretty special.
Yeah, kind of the same question I asked Doug Gilmour, so I thought I'd go back to it because Stanley Cup champions, there's not very many of you guys around, so figured I'd ask. But let's go to the Calgary Flames. So you guys lose Johnny and Matthew last year. You bring in Huberto, Kadri, Uyghur. What was that shakeup like for you guys?
Well, I mean, it's tough losing those two guys. They've been part of the team and organization for so long that it's tough losing them. But I mean, hockey's a business, and there's a chance of losing them. And um, you know, when you heard you're losing them, you're like, oh man, what's gonna happen here? And then, Tree brings in those three guys, and that's a pretty unbelievable job by him. And to get those three guys to come in. And obviously it takes a little while to get used to the new team, and especially for Hubie and Weegs, they've only played for one team their whole career. So to come into a new team and just kind of get comfortable, it takes time. But from looking at it from when Johnny and Chucky left, you're like, oh man, I don't know how this year's going to go. To seeing those guys come in, it's it kind of gave us excitement and belief that we could be a good team too.
And how much is it like you want like for getting back there? And I know you in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure you would agree, is there's still a couple more years left with you there. Would it be pretty special to kind of get back there and and win with that core and win with that group? Because it seems to be, from what from what we have had on our pod, you're the fourth player that we've had on the pod from that team. And it just seems how close and strong it is. And it's one of those years. But we talked about before we hit record, is if you guys would have just got in, we all think we guys would have did some damage. But how important would it be to kind of get back there and finish that unfinished business, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd love to be back there. But it's such a good team. It's such a close team. It's one of the closest teams I've been on. There's not really cliques or anything. It's kind of everyone hangs out. It's one of the first teams where you almost have too many guys on the road going to dinner. You can't get a reservation, so you got to split up. So it's a great group, and everyone's close, and I think everyone believes in each other, and I'd love to be back there and have another chance with that group, and still keep in touch with most of them
Yeah.
right now. I'd love to be back, and I think, like you said, I think if we would have got in, we would have teams wouldn't have wanted to play us. So we were close, but we kind of shot ourselves in the foot a little too early, and couldn't quite catch up. So I think it's a good group, and I'd love to be back.
You've been a part of some really good teams here, and especially in LA. But is there something that you can put the finger on of why this Flames team is as close as it is with the click? There's no clicks. It's everyone in for each other. Is there something that just kind of stands out to you that that comes to mind, and some good stories about even with you guys as a group? I know Weegs was on Missing Curfew, and he talked about the good bender you guys had at the end of the year. But it's just, I think you guys have a special group, and it's kind of interesting to hear. Some of the teams I've been around and got to know, and this team just sticks out to it as how special it is too.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is the leadership. Um, we have, it's not just, obviously don't have a captain, but we guys look up to Bax and Tanny, and Luch, and we just have a good leadership group that kind of includes everyone. I think Luch and Tanny and Bax, they all kind of make sure everyone's included in everything, and try to get things early on when new guys comes in, of bonding, and having a good time away from the rink, so you're closer during the year, and it just kind of builds from there. And I think that's a big part of a good team is you got to come to the rink every day and see the guys every day. You might as well like it and have fun. So I think it's a big part of success, and I think everyone does a good job there.
You know, you've done a lot in your career and winning the two Stanley Cups. How special, you got some really good younger players there too, and and Mangiapane and Dubé. Those guys have, how cool is it? And the thing is, I know this is a kind of a tough thing, because as hockey players, you guys don't want to give credit to yourselves, but is there something that kind of stands out to you, that helping these younger guys mentor into the players that they are today? Is there something that that you were able to kind of pass on to some of these younger kids that are in this organization? And as you guys have done such a great job drafting and developing, and you guys had a lot of guys that came up throughout the year, can you talk about just being that kind of mentor, that help mentor these younger guys and being the players they are today?
Yeah. I think with me, I think I take a lot of pride, a lot of pride in taking care of my body, and making sure I'm prepared. And I think Daryl and the guys in LA kind of helped me with being prepared and preparation, and learning everything like that. And I think young guys come in and see me, and I'm usually the first guy there, stretching and making sure the body's ready. And guys come in and say you're still in the gym or whatever. And I just take a lot of pride in you know taking care of myself, and I think young guys see that, and that's how I learn, is seeing older guys do that. And yeah, I think that's one of the things they could take away for sure.
Nice. Two more before we let you go, Phil. I don't know. You're really intrigued to kind of ask Trevor about, preparing for an upcoming NHL season at the age of, 36, 37. But Phil, throw over to you there. Well, I think his internet's kicked out. So, yeah, I can't hear you, Phil. So, um, I'll ask you that question. We can edit this part out. But
Am I back?
There you go.
You're back. Okay.
Yeah, so sorry guys. Yeah, my internet is acting up tonight, so I apologize. Of course, when we get the Calgary Flame on, my internet acts up, right? So anyways, I was just gonna ask you, so 36 years old. We think you got some years left in the NHL. How's getting prepared for another NHL season look for you as opposed to maybe when you first jumped into the league?
Um, you know what? I think I prepared the same way. I think, I think when you get older and you change what you do, that's kind of when you go south or slow down a little bit. So, I'm gonna prepare the same way I always do and train the same way I always have. I know I got to play full 82 games this year, which is pretty fortunate to do, and the body feels good. So I'll just keep going at it the way I have been. And I think the only thing that changed is sometimes the kids are in the gym now when I'm working out, so workouts take a little longer. But other than that, yeah, I'll probably train and prepare the same way.
You
Um,
you got to show them how it's done, hey?
Yeah, they got to see some in there.
so we'll finish up on this. Peter Hanlon's been also another great guy for us. But is there a funny story you can tell about Peter? With all with the years you've had with him. If not, just kind of maybe elaborate on the person he is. And for people that don't know, he's I would say arguably the best PR guy in the NHL and just a great human being too.
Um, yeah, put me on the spot about a story.
Sorry about
I,
that.
I don't know if I have any good stories I could tell
Good
on it,
job, Bosco.
Yeah.
but no, he's great. Um, you know, it's tough to be those guys sometimes when you got to ask guys to do an interview after a tough loss or, um, after a game you didn't play bad or had a bad turnover or something, and he doesn't shy away from it, and he'll come up and ask you, and he's a great guy, and I feel like he's one of the guys that if you need something away from the rink or um, whatever you need, he's there for you, and he'll do whatever you want, or he'll do whatever it takes for you to.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. So Martaloo Barbershop, Nick and his team there, they sponsor us. I know you guys go and get your haircut there. You're smiling as I say the name. He's a beauty. I got to meet him. Luch set me up with him. So they've been sponsoring us this whole season for our Calgary Flames segment. Is there anything you can maybe share on him to close out the pod? And how cool it is to kind of the setup they have is quite remarkable too, in my opinion. So
Yeah, Nick's unbelievable. All of the guys there are unbelievable. You know, I used to get my haircut, I don't know, once every 6 weeks. And since I met Nick, he'd be getting me going every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever to keep me clean and ready to go. But I think Hubie's his best friend now. I think Hubie's in there at least once a week, if not more than that. So
QB
yeah,
loves that high fade,
oh,
right? So,
and once the hair's out of place, he's getting a haircut. So
yeah.
yeah, no, Nick's great. He's got all the flame stuff up there, and just a great guy, and takes care of all the boys. So we were saying he should get a stall in the locker room that he could just come in and cut the boys' hairs on practice days and hang out.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Luch kind of set that up in Edmonton. I'm surprised. I'm sure it'll probably happen in Calgary, especially with the new arena. I'm sure
Yeah,
Nick, something Nick has a conversation about. If not, we'll make sure it kind of happens on our end. We'll just
yeah. He's I mean he's especially if Hubie's going to be there for another 8 years,
yeah,
he's going to be in there.
yeah, exactly. He might be flying Hubie to Montreal because I think Hubie told him he's like, you're the best guy that's ever cut my hair. So, and he's had some people in Florida, and I met Hubie when he was in Florida too. My buddy Petro played with him. Alex Petrovich. Petrovich was with you guys too there during the bubble.
Yeah,
Another good guy too. But Louis, man, I can't thank you enough. You came as advertised, humble and it's a great interview. It's a pleasure. I do owe you an apology. I kind of met you after a game. I had little kiddos that I'm helping out, mentor, and he came up and met Toffoli after. And then when I was leaving the rink, I said bye Tyler, which I meant bye Trevor. You're meeting I think a friend and his kid after the game here in Edmonton. So, but
yeah, good.
yeah.
All
So All the best to you and your family this summer, and all the best going forward. And we wish you the best getting a good deal here this summer, and hopefully July 1st is if not sooner is an amazing time for you. So all the best to you. And Phil, do you have anything to add you want to say before we close out?
Yeah, just appreciate you, man. And yeah, I was just telling Bosco earlier, like I think it was partway through the year, I just said, one player I've had no complaints with on this team this year is Trevor Lewis. The best bang for your buck you're gonna get. So as a Flames fan, we do appreciate you and really rooting for you, man.
Thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
All right. I think that was good. No,
Man.
your internet.
Oh, my internet.
Hopefully Cam can kind of fix it up. I don't know. We'll see.
No, it was like it's like not working at all. I'm like hot spotting off my phone.
Are you? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's all right. Well, we're still recording. I didn't hit stop. So let's just do a small recap and then Cam can edit this part out. So all right, let's give it a second here. All right, another great interview. I think. Hopefully, I think fans will love it. I think there's some pretty cool things there. Even the Chris Sutter giving Weegs some pointers there on getting the stick lie a little bit better. So I think that's
Well,
pretty
there's a head coaching job available in Calgary.
there we go. So no, I'm pretty happy for him, and it'd be nice to see him back with the Flames. And again, really appreciate the Flames for everything they've done and supporting us here at the 2 Months Podcast. So well,
How many current players have the Flames given us right now?
this is 4, man. This is number 4. So this is quite amazing. Very grateful for this opportunity, and definitely can't thank them enough for everything that they've done here. And it definitely it's definitely cool.
And
It's great.
Fuda too.
Yeah, Foods definitely thanks to him, and
Yeah. Thank you to Fuda.
yeah. So no, I think it was good. I think fans will love this, and it's kind of cool to kind of hear his story and hear his journey, especially coming from a place that's not a hockey hotbed, and what he had to do to get to where he's at today. And man, it would be pretty cool if he can get to 1,000 games. He's not that far off. So maybe two more good years in the league, and he maybe gets that. Maybe plays till he's 40. He still has a lot left in the tank. When you're scoring 10 to 15 goals a year, still, those are pretty good, valuable numbers. And he's definitely a great penalty killer. And the cost isn't a lot either, for what you can have. And there's not a lot of two-time Stanley Cup champions just growing on trees here that you can just grab and put in your locker room and put in your community and all that. So I think it's pretty remarkable. So hopefully everything works out for him. And anything you want to add before we jump out?
No, it was really good to have him. It's so wild. Like we just said, like at 36 years old, like the guy played a full season last year, and um, yeah, what else do you want from a bottom six guy? Like this guy just does everything, right? So
Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah, so we'll finish up on that. Like to thank Foods, the Flames, and Trevor Lewis for joining us, and all of our sponsors. Give us a like, give us a subscribe wherever you guys listen to us, and we appreciate it, all the support that we're getting. And as we say, be humble, be kind, and we'll chat with you guys very soon.